Good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nisha Patel, and I have about 18 plus years experience in IT industry. And in these years, I have, been a part of an agile team as a developer, been a Scrum Master, and now I'm a professional Scrum trainer, a safe professional consultant, and an agile coach. So I have, been a developer, and now as a coach, I think I know what goes through and developers' mind, right? What the developers goes through. And in today's talk, that's what I would like to actually talk about their journey from expectations and acceptance, right? While working in agile organization, right? So before we get into the depth of the topic, right, I did actually like to hear from you very quickly. Assuming that most of you have been part of the Agile organization, maybe as a developer, maybe as a coder, programmer, tester, Scrum Master, Agile leader, what your experience has been, right? Has it been easygoing, challenging? Could you describe in a word or two what your experience is to be part of an Agile team or an Agile organization? Just about 10 seconds so that, we go from there. If you could just put up in the chat window. Maybe you say, it's all time meetings, it's chaotic, very undisciplined. What is it that you feel when working in an agile team?
Opportunities to learn and share.
Okay. Quite a learning experience, yes. So there's a constant learning, great. Difficult to implement, yeah. And what that difficulty is, right? So more often or not, changing the mindset, right? This is where the difficulty comes in, right? And more often or not, people do struggle with the fact that the expectations have actually changed from what they have been doing in the past, especially when working in the agile world, right? And that is what I did like to actually start delving into. Not only know what these expectations are, but actually understand the reasons behind these expectations, right? So before we get into the depth of it, let us get ourselves aligned to what a developer is. Okay, right? To me, I mean, honestly, personally, I'm a developer is a superhero, right? He or she is a person who has the required skill set, absolutely knows what to do, how to convert a set of requirements into a working solution or a software, right? So I've actually quoted, the description from the Scrum Guide here that a developer is anybody or who is a part of the Agile team, be it a coder, a programmer, a tester, a DBA, a UX person, be it anyone who is contributing towards building that software, right? And is someone who is committed, instills quality, and is professional, right? So far, what we see here does change drastically as to what it was earlier and what changes in the agile. The last bullet point, though, is the game changer, and this is self-managed, right? We want our developer, our agile teams to be self-managed, right? And this comes from the fact that they are empowered, right? So they have the power to take decisions, to do the planning, to execute the plan, right? And as the famous saying goes in the the very movie of Spiderman, right? With great power comes great responsibilities. Right? Let me put it up as expectations, right? So it is these expectations that often put our developers in a state of confusion as to why I need to do this. Earlier I was not doing this. Why I need to take this action. Earlier I was not doing that, right? So it will become easier once we understand what changed and why the way of working changed in agile world, right? So let's have a you know a, a quick relativity here, right? A same developer when working in a plan driven environment, right? And when we say plan driven development, it is here that it is believed that everything is known to the level, to the details, that it is possible for us to do a task level planning, come up with an exact estimation, and actually be able to commit to a given date to release or handover or to sign off, right? And it is also believed that there are factors that would not change much that will impact the plan, right? So this is our plan driven environment, and hence it was possible for someone to be able to plan for you, assign work to you, and in fact consider that ownership is a responsibility of a group of people. And whenever there was a change that came in, it was obviously taken up with a very negative mindset, because it changed everything. The very assumption that things will not change has come true, and that's why it was a negative connotation, right? Versus in agile world, right, we believe that whatever we do is value driven development. And when we say value driven development, meaning that we are keeping in mind always the fact that we have a certain goal and we know these goals, right? Why we are developing, what we are developing, right? We understand that our requirements need to emerge, need to evolve to keep our clients and customers relevant in the market, right? And therefore, whatever we build, we need to continuously deliver as well. Therefore, we need to try to build the right thing the first time. So we own the quality, right? And therefore, with this information and knowledge, the fact that this is where the value lies, it becomes easier for our developer to plan and execute. And that's the very reason in an agile organization, in a value driven environment, we believe that empowering the developers, empowering the agile team will improve the efficiency, will improve the productivity, right? Even with this knowledge, I, as a coach, of late have come across situations where it is still difficult for our developers to understand this, okay, or uh, understand the need for us to implement these agile principles on the ground, right? More often or not, I hear people saying, why do we have so many meetings? I have people saying that, do we really need daily scrum daily? I mean, what is it going to change every day, right? I have a high priority bug to fix. This is what I want to do today, and attending meeting is actually a blocker for me rather than an enabler, right? Or thinking in terms of bit size. Always the work has been complex, and to simplify it, to be able to deliver every 2 to 4 weeks, it's another challenge. The effort that needs to be put in to simplify the work, or let me put, so that you can keep delivering every shorter cycles, seems to be futile, all right? It seems to be futile to the person, right, who doesn't understand the reason behind it. And the fact that things change, okay, that it is evolving, it is changing. And I did like to actually bring up an experience here. Very recently, one of my senior developer came back saying that this is something, a complex requirement was fixed, delivered, accepted, and now the logic is changing again. I am really, and this was something that came up as a fact that it's really frustrating to do all this all over again. Now, it's frustrating to the person because he's not able to relate to the fact that what was accepted was also talked to the stakeholders, and we received a feedback, and that feedback is something that will help you to better the software and your services to the end customer, right? And hence, this changing requirements is still something that the developer is not able to absorb, right? And this very coincidentally, this very person is also a person who is very introvert, doesn't understand why I have to be in the meeting, Why I have to say everything to everyone? Okay, I know my stuff. I'll tell when I'm done, right? Doesn't get to get an understanding of the fact that you know sharing is caring, right? You need to share your work and you need to share others' work as well. You need to make each other's accountability. It's not only your accountability here, right? And this is the one which I believe is the game changer here, right? More often or not, in the plan-driven environment, wherein the plan came from someone else, if you were not able to meet it, it was always possible for you to say that, this was not done the right way. The planning was not done the right way, or the assumptions were very incorrect. Now that it is your plan and you have committed it, people still think about the fact that what if I make a mistake? What if I fail? There's always a sense of failure that goes in their head. And in my coaching experience, people have actually, when I try to help them, plan for themselves, they always have come back to me saying, "You tell, I'll do." You know, they're still in the mindset of being directed, right? And the fact that even if you fail, you can improve every 2 weeks, right? There is always an opportunity to improve, and you can always take mini steps to get to the to better your game, right? All these things are blockers to the developer who it comes with a fixed mindset. Okay, so rather than understanding the reasons behind why these are needed, or the fact that how these very things can be helpful, the person is still in the previous way of working and is not in a state of mind to change things. So this is where we call that we are transitioning from a fixed mindset to change it to a mindset that will help you sustain an agile environment, right? And this is where I say the first thing that is needed for you to make that change is to be motivated, right? And motivation, as a Daniel Pink puts it up, right, comes is enabled with three factors here, right? Mastery, which is your skill set. And we already talked, our superhero already have that skill set, right? Autonomy is provided in the form of the agile principles and the way we work, right? And the purpose, right? We know that now our goal is to provide that value to customer. So with this purpose in hand and with the autonomy and mastery, the individuals in the agile environment are believed to be motivated, right? The purpose earlier was missing in the plan-driven environment. Earlier, the goal was to meet the plan without understanding the end goal. This is what has changed now. And now with this value that we need to provide in everything that we do, right? Day-to-day tasks that we do, we always will keep in mind whether what we do will add value to customer, to the software we deliver, to the solution we deliver, right? Leads to a motivated individual, right? So hence, when we have motivated individuals, that's where the acceptance comes in, sinks in, right? And when there is an acceptance, you no longer want to be a superhero, right? Who has all the powers, but is still unfit, right? You don't want to be in this situation. Rather, you want to be an individual with a growth mindset, right? And with growth mindset, this person is no longer thinking failure or as or feedback as a criticism, rather considers the feedback to be a learning opportunity, right? Doesn't fear from failure, it again thinks it to be an opportunity to improve, right? So when we have this developer move from the fixed mindset to a growth mindset, the person is able to sustain with an understanding that meetings are no longer just meetings for you to attend, but these are the opportunities for you to collaborate towards a common goal. for you to share information, for you to get more information, for you to have that transparency so that you can get that feedback, be able to adapt based on that feedback and employ empirism, right? So empirism is all about being able to do based on what is known, right? And this known, this information can come, can surface when you collaborate constantly, right? Believes in the power of feedback. Feedback is no longer a criticism, but feedback is information. Feedback is a way to improve, to adjust, to adapt so that we can sustain, right? And it's right? It's always believes in the power of team. Yes, superhero has its own power, able to do lot many things, but think about the team of Avengers, right? A team of all superheroes. They are able to resolve their own problems. They are in a state to, become more efficient, more productive, and get to value much faster, right? Believes in quality as a collective ownership. And no longer the quality is about detecting defects and fixing defects. Quality is thinking about the outcome. What happens to your solution, to your product when it goes to the production? The post-production requirements, right? All those, whether it is highly available, performing very well, right? Meeting the end user expectations is usable, right? A system thinking that needs to be put to place so that when you code now, when you test now, when you design now, you're putting all the best quality engineering practices in use so that things do not fail later on, right? It is always about building the right stuff the first time, correct? And last but not the least, believes in improving. There is always a room for improvement and believes in continuous learning. Doesn't look at retrospective meetings or RCAs as a place for blame game, but a place wherein as a group, as a team, what could we do? What efforts could we put to use so that we can go to mastery, right? So I believe this is where the whole transition comes in from the fact that you accept and get into the growth mindset and then sustaining in agile environment and understanding the rhythm, the cadence with which we are working and why we have those cadence becomes easier to understand, right? Now that's for the developers, right? I believe that uh, 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 any superhero will become much better when uh, he or she is assisted with a coach, right? And a great coach, as mentioned by Richard here, right, is not only inspires but supports and encourages, right? So it is here that I would want to talk about and what scrum masters and agile leaders and project managers can do, right? And the first and foremost thing is that we too need to move from the fixed mindset of directing the team to coaching the team, right? And there is a huge difference here. You don't want to tell the team to do what needs to be done. You don't want to provide them the solution because believe me, they have the solution with them. Okay. They have the solution with them. It's just that they don't want to talk and take that responsibility and accountability. So as a coach, it becomes very important for you to, get them to their own solution and, give them that accountability of solving the problems. No longer are you just facilitating the meetings. In fact, you would observe that meeting as whether your team is actually taking it as an opportunity to inspect and adapt, right? Are they really being transparent enough, having the right information, and based on the information, are they talking about adapting the plan, right? And this can only happen when you have, provided an environment of trust, a safe environment wherein everyone feels comfortable to share their viewpoints, to be able to put each other accountable and talk about problem areas, right? And it's not easy to build this environment of trust. It will take you time and it needs efforts from you too, right? Efforts in terms of ensuring that time and again you have these team building activities. You want them to gel with each other and create that environment of safety, right? And with that, actually focus on the fact that the team and the developers are continuously learning. A space for innovation is provided that will keep them motivated for a longer duration. Yeah. Obviously, you want to assist your team, right? With tools, with technology, ensuring that the right expertise is present in the team, ensuring that we have the right cross-functional team in place, correct? Tools that will serve the team and not the other way around. I think you want the team to serve the tools. So it is very important that not bombarding the team with the tools, but actually choosing the tools that will complement the efforts that the team is putting into. And last but not the least, I would like to talk about the sustained pace, right? Um, right from our product owner, the customers, our project leaders, everyone want more out of the given time. Okay, let us be mindful of and accept the fact that delivering every 2 to 4 weeks is a highly rigorous activity, right? And to be able to do that time after time, cycle after cycle is very, very strenuous, right? And therefore, you want to always think about the fact that you're enabling the team to work in such a fashion that they can have a sustained pace so that the same thing can be done over a period of time, right? So focus on measuring the outcome rather than output. Your questions to the team in case their sprint or the cycle output is not as expected is not about how much efforts did you put it in a day. The question is, did we achieve what we planned for today? Did we realize the outcome that we wanted today, right? So always try to measure the value versus of the output, that the activities, right? Measure the value versus the activities. So I believe Scrum Masters and Agile leaders play a very, very important role in ensuring that our developers have a right and environment to sustain and be able to perform, right? Be able to up their game, actually. And with that, like to conclude that once we accept our challenges, we go beyond limits. And that, I'd like to open up for any Q&A that we might have.